Hello, and welcome to Read It and Don't Weep, the podcast that will help you breeze through your high school literature classes. Are you tired of struggling to understand the themes and characters in classic works of literature? Well, I've got you covered. I'm your host, Jackie Taggart, and I taught high school English for almost 20 years. Join me each episode as I dive into the world of high school literature and break down the essential elements of each work. From Shakespeare to Steinbeck, I'll cover it all. My goal is to give you valuable insight and analysis on some of the most popular high school literary texts, as well as tips and tricks for acing your tests and essays. Let's start reading. Welcome back. In Act 5, Scene 3, we move inside Macbeth's castle at Dunsinane, where the king is trying to deal with both the approaching army and his own growing desperation. If you have not yet read up to this point, it would be a good idea to get caught up with your reading and listen to my other episodes before continuing. Macbeth starts off sounding defiant. He clings to the witch's prophecy, insisting he has nothing to fear until Brenham Wood moves to Dunsinane. He even mocks Malcolm, reminding himself that no one born of a woman can harm him. At this point, he's still holding tightly to the idea that the prophecies guarantee his safety. But reality keeps pushing in. When a servant reports that 10,000 soldiers are approaching, Macbeth lashes out, calling him a coward for being afraid. Even as he insults the messenger, though, we can see that the pressure is getting to him. He admits this attack will either secure his power or knock him from the throne completely. Then for a moment, we see something more honest. Left alone, Macbeth reflects that his life has withered. He says, "I have lived long enough. My way of life is fallen into the sere, the yellow leaf, and that which should accompany old age, as honor, love, obedience, troops of friends, I must not look to have." In this metaphor, Macbeth compares his life to a leaf in autumn. He's reached the stage where he should be enjoying respect, loyalty, and friendship, but because of his choices, everything has dried up instead. He has the crown, but none of the things that actually make life feel meaningful. Still, he refuses to give in. He orders his armor and insists he will fight to the end. You gotta give him credit for being consistent. When the doctor enters, Macbeth asks about Lady Macbeth. The doctor explains that she is not physically ill, but troubled by thoughts that keep her from resting. Macbeth responds with one of his most revealing lines, asking if the doctor can minister to a mind diseased and erase the painful memories weighing on her. The doctor's answer is simple. No. This is something she must deal with herself. Macbeth brushes that off and turns back to his current issues, asking instead if the doctor can cure Scotland and purge the English army from the land. He still talks as if everything can still be fixed, but it's clear he's losing control. The scene ends with Macbeth still clinging to the prophecy, insisting he will not fear death until Brenham Wood comes to Dunsinane. Meanwhile, the doctor quietly says he wishes he could just leave, emphasizing that no one wants to stay and support Macbeth. Before moving on to Scene 4, record your thoughts in your reading journal. What does Macbeth's speech about the yellow leaf reveal about how he sees his life and rule? In Scene 4, we move to Brenham Wood, where Malcolm's army has gathered with Siward, Macduff, and the Scottish lords, who have turned against Macbeth. At this point, the rebellion isn't quiet anymore. It's fully underway. Malcolm starts by looking ahead to the future, hoping that soon people will be able to feel safe in their own homes again. Then Siward asks about the forest in front of them, and Menteith confirms it's Brenham Wood. And this is the moment where we see one of the witch's prophecies. Malcolm gives a very practical military order. He tells every soldier to cut down a branch and carry it in front of them. Let every soldier hew him down a bow and bear it before him. The goal is simple. By carrying branches, they can hide the size of their army and confuse Macbeth's army. But of course, we as the audience immediately recognize something bigger happening here. This is the beginning of Brenham Wood moving towards Dunsinane, exactly what the witches said would happen when Macbeth would be defeated. Syward points out that Macbeth is still holding strong in the castle, convinced he can survive the siege. Malcolm agrees, but also notes that almost no one truly supports Macbeth anymore. The soldiers still serving him are doing it because they have to, not because they want to. Macduff pushes everyone to focus on the task ahead, and Syward reminds them that the truth of this fight will be decided in battle. With that, the army advances towards Dunsinane, and the prophecy that once made Macbeth feel invincible is now quietly turning against him. Hey teachers, are you looking for some top-notch resources to go along with this podcast episode? You'll find them right in my store. A quick click on the link in the show notes gets you right there. What awaits? A stash of guided questions, note-taking aids, and assessments to use with your students. Go ahead and make the most of these resources today. In Scene 5, we shift back inside Dunsinane, where the siege is underway. Macbeth enters with his soldiers, trying to sound confident. He orders the banners hung on the walls and insists the castle will laugh at a siege to scorn. He believes the enemy can wait outside until disease or hunger weakens them. But you can hear the frustration underneath that confidence. He admits the English army is made up of Scots who should be fighting for him. If his own men had stayed loyal, he said, they could have met an enemy dareful, beard to beard, and driven them back. Then suddenly we hear a cry of women inside the castle. Macbeth sends Seton to find out what happened. While he waits, Macbeth reflects on how much he has changed. He says he has almost forgotten the taste of fears. There was a time when a scream in the night would have shaken him, but now he says he has supped full with horrors. Violence and death have become so normal to him that nothing startles him anymore. Seton returns with the news. The queen is dead. Macbeth's reaction is surprisingly numb. He simply says, she should have died hereafter, meaning death would have come eventually anyway. It is not grief we hear. It is exhaustion. And that leads straight into one of Shakespeare's most famous speeches. Macbeth starts thinking about time itself and how it just keeps creeping forward, day after day, until everyone dies. He then delivers the lines that sum up his entire mindset right now. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day, to the last syllable of recorded time. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. In this moment, Macbeth isn't just tired. He's defeated. In the tragic hero arc, this is his agonorsis, the moment when he finally recognizes the truth about his own downfall. He understands what his ambition has cost him, and all the power, violence, and risks he took now feel empty and meaningless. The man who once believed he could change fate now sees that everything he chased has led to nothing. But reality crashes back in almost immediately. A messenger arrives with shocking news. From his watch on the hill, it looks like Brenham Wood is moving towards the castle. Macbeth instantly lashes out, calling him a liar. But as the messenger insists, Macbeth realizes that the witch's prophecy might actually be coming true. He finally admits he is starting to doubt the equivocation of the fiend. In other words, the witch's deceit. Their promises sounded reassuring, but now he sees they were misleading him all along. At this point, Macbeth knows there's no turning back. He says if the report is true, there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. He's tired of the world, tired of the fight, but he still refuses to surrender. He orders the alarm to sound and declares that they will fight to the end. And that brings us to the end of Scene 5. Before moving on to the final scenes in Act 5, jot down your thoughts in your reading journal. What does Macbeth's tomorrow speech reveal about how he sees life now? How is this different from earlier in the play? How does this scene show the tragic hero moving towards his downfall? Thanks for listening to this episode of Read It and Don't Weep. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you will be notified when new episodes are released. If you liked today's show, please leave a review so others can discover my show. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, drop me an email at readitanddon'tweep@gmail.com or reach out to me on social media. I'd love to hear from you. The links are in the show notes. Thank you for listening. I'm Jackie Taggart, and remember to read it and don't weep.